Cheers for joining us. Fucking sick of being here doing this, to be honest.
Every time, innit?
Every time. It
still have
just
to do it.
Fucking absolutely sucks. Oh, God.
It is funny how shit it is almost.
Do you know what? If there was an interesting thing where you can go, actually, Watford did this thing. I've never seen this before. This is probably interesting and we can learn from it.
No. To be fair, I've never really seen what De Gea did before. That's,
right, yeah. I mean,
I don't know if that was Watford's tactic.
I don't know if that's a teaching point going
soft
forward.
Shots at De Gea and he'll drop it. I don't think that's something we can learn from necessarily, is it?
I thought this was the banker.
Oh, yeah.
And I know, like, we've been poor against, but just still thought it was the banker. I still thought this one was a banker, and I thought Newcastle was a real doable one. Arsenal could go either way because I don't know. We all have no idea what Arteta's going to do. Burnley was the one that I thought was going to be an absolute mare.
Yeah. Started this run off with
0-0 at half time with no shots on target from either side was a massive indicator of where it was all going to go. Jesse Lingard puts that away early in the first half. We have a different game in our hands. But I think, I think both the players and the manager have to look at themselves here.
Yeah.
Someone made a point before we went live. I was reading some of the comments. How can you blame the manager when the same team beat City last week? Good point. Another good point was because you need different tactics to beat different teams. It's another good point. And that's the point I've been kind of making, is that how is the same tactics, at least on the face of things, one size fits all for Everton, City and Watford? And people will say, well, City have a starting 11 and Liverpool have a starting 11. I don't have an issue if you're having a strongest 11 when you're on top of the pile.
Yeah.
When you're on top of the pile, your plan A, you know it. You just turn up and
works.
you do what you do. We aren't a team that's capable. For starters, we don't have that plan A. And we don't have those players that just know autonomously how to just turn up and beat people. So I do feel like this is a side that has to tailor its game to the opposition. So I will give Ole some stick for that and say I didn't agree with the lineup. My sympathy for that, to a certain degree, though, is it's not like he had Thiago Alcantara on the bench and he chose not to use him. It's not like he had Haaland and was like, I'm going to go with Marshall today.
Yeah, it was basically Pereira or Lingard.
His decisions are, Pereira, Lingard or Mata. Arguably none are good enough.
And then it's McTominay, Fred, Matic.
Or Pogba. And Pogba proved what we've been lacking when he came on. He turned that from, I'm not sure how many shots we'd had before he came on, but it felt like all of our shots on target came after he was on. Probably wasn't, but let's say at least 5 or 6 of them was.
It seems strange to give someone so much credit for a game we lost, but he was brilliant today, Pogba, wasn't he?
Well, he's shown what we've missed.
Yeah.
He's just got that X factor about him that we just haven't had all season. No. We've been able to grind out some results without him, but you need some players that have got a little bit of magic about them that can actually do something. Yeah. Do us a favour, everyone. Just fucking like the video if you're fucking wounded.
I like it.
The other sides on this, like I said, you can only piss with the cock you got, and he hasn't got the greatest squad. That doesn't mean that you just accept losing to Watford. That's not acceptable. This is a team that hadn't fucking won at home. I think they've got 2 wins all season prior to today.
To lose to Watford, you have to lose the game yourself, because they don't win games.
No.
They don't win games. So we lost that game ourselves.
Yeah, and arguably 2 fucking clangers from 2 players. Now, we got nilled.
Yeah.
So even if those clangers didn't happen, we got nilled.
Yeah.
We didn't. The shots we had, we put straight at the keeper. Jesse should have hit the fucking target. Probably makes it 1-0. But I have no idea what De Gea was doing. No. That was just. I mean, arguably we should have done better with a header in the box. Arguably Luke Shaw should have done better. Arguably De Gea should have done better. But isn't that what happened last week with Everton?
Yeah.
Arguably Luke Shaw should have done better. Yeah. Arguably De Gea should have done better. Arguably the other defender. A comedy of errors with the free. Someone in the comments here, why did Ole say he's happy with the midfield? I can't believe how many times I have to fucking repeat this.
Yeah. Do you really think he's happy with the midfield? Or do you think he's saying that so he doesn't come out and look like Jose looked at the start of last season, basically signing his own, retirement?
He's trying to put confidence into the team. And I'd give you that this team does look more confident under Ole. I know that's fucking hard to accept 5 minutes after we've just fucking lost to the bottom of the league. But I do think that this team at least looks... It certainly looks like it's playing for the manager more than it did under Jose.
And you just look at and I know this sounds stupid, and it's been our worst start in the Premier League ever, and all those things, and the team to drop points again. And this is silly, but in terms of how watching the team makes you feel, how playing in teams make you feel, winning those big games, which we do, in how you feel about those games do mean more. I know that sounds stupid, it's only ever 3 points, but beating City, beating Chelsea twice, drawing against Liverpool, drawing against Arsenal, beating Tottenham, those wins mean more than when you beat Newcastle. I know this is ridiculous, and these losses mean
fundamentally
more as well.
It
changes the way you feel about the club and the way players feel when they're playing and all that kind of thing.
Some people in the comments here saying, why does Ole get a free pass? I don't know what you've just listened to. I've literally just said, I put that on him.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between saying put that on him. With all of the managers that we've had post Fergie, there was a time with all of them where I was like, okay, this guy's not going to fucking do it. But I hold fire on that for the longest fucking time because this job is so big that it just takes so fucking long to do it. The one argument that I can't fucking defend is look at what Chris Wilder's doing. I can't defend it because he's doing a fantastic job. And that's that. What's going on here? Why are we playing that again? All right, okay. Yeah. What Chris Wilder's doing is a fantastic thing, and I can't defend that, and I won't defend that, and I think what he is doing is excellent.
Yeah. We're not sat here saying that Solskjaer is putting in the best managerial performance of anyone in the league.
Not at all.
We're not. It's not that. No. It's just that just because someone makes some mistakes or makes mistakes, that doesn't mean they should just get sacked immediately.
No.
There's lines in between that. No. When a player has a bad game, you don't just tear up their contract and throw them out, do you?
No.
You have to look at what they offer and what they bring and what they can bring, and that's what you're doing. You have to weigh things up. There was a sense of inevitability with the weeks leading up to the Liverpool game for Mourinho, the weeks leading up to even the FA Cup final, which Van Gaal won, and obviously with Moyes, that inevitability felt there. For me, it doesn't feel like it's there yet for Solskjaer, or there was a feeling just that no matter what happens, this manager's going to go. And I don't think that's there for Solskjaer yet. I don't think that overwhelming inevitability is there.
Before Spurs and City, I thought it could have been. Following the Villa game, I thought we was getting there.
Did you?
Yeah, I really did, yeah. I wasn't 100% sure he'd be here now, to be honest. But I think the wins against those did. I think the winning against the big teams, I think people like to try and dismiss it. I really don't.
It's ridiculous. It's what Liverpool were doing.
Yeah.
I know, let's not look as Liverpool as our favourite team to follow, but Liverpool dropped a lot of points to the smaller sides. They struggled to break them down.
My God, Klopp was 3-0 up against Bournemouth and lost 4-3.
Yeah.
Can you imagine United's fan base reaction to that?
I know. But remember, they used to beat City all the time.
Yeah.
Because the way you set your team up and the tactics that you play in those big games, that's that's a bigger indicator of a manager's quality to me.
Yeah.
Than it is.
Yeah, I honestly do think it's a lot more on those individual players. Like if we'd have had a Pogba from the kickoff today, maybe we don't lose that. Maybe we don't lose against, or we don't draw against Everton. Maybe we don't draw against Villa. Mm-hmm. But this is the role we had. I mean, we were talking about it in the watch along, weren't we? We all said it. Everybody said it. I'm not going to fucking say, well, I told you this would happen. But we all said at the start of the season. I mean, everyone saw this coming.
Yeah.
A couple of players, and we're fucked.
Yeah.
And the argument over the starting 11, it's like, well, Mason should have started over Dan James, right? Okay, but that's hardly the most fucking it's not like saying Messi should have started over fucking Ashley Young. You'd have been like, yeah, I'll give you that one. Probably should have. Like it's all right, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Like Brandon Williams should have started over Shaw. I would have wanted that, but okay.
Yeah.
Like it's not it's not 3 points nailed on if he does, is it?
It's not. Yeah, because we've seen Mason in games where he looks brilliant and he scores goals, but we've seen him in games where he's really quiet and especially when he's on the wing, he struggles to go past his man sometimes. And he's we know the downsides of all of these players, and you're not guaranteed to get the best version of whichever player you think should be playing instead. It doesn't always work like that, and you can see team performance has a huge part to play in it. How often is it that when the team looks bad, everyone looks bad. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, there's something happens in the game, you score a goal, you get a lucky goal, and the whole team looks good. It doesn't always just work that Greenwood would have won us this game and Dan James didn't.
No, and the two errors which conceded our goals, ironically, on the back of last week us saying, do you know what, Wan-Bissaka can probably give away some penalties and I'll be all right with it. Yeah, and I was all right. I've got to be all right with it because his timing's so fucking good. I don't know what happened.
It was it was just
because it was so bad.
Decision.
It was so bad in terms of timing.
Because the ball was. If the ball was being controlled from a height, it wasn't like he was playing it through the floor. And Wan-Bissaka was, a yard away from the ball when the tackle was put in. It was a very strange one from him.
William says, how about having 2 CDMs against bottom of the table? But they don't play there, do they?
No.
Why do I keep comparing us to all Liverpool? There was a different reason they couldn't beat smaller teams. Because it's still valid. It's still a valid comparison. And the manager that they stuck with was allowed to come 8th. Yeah. That manager was allowed to put his plan into play because there was things that he was doing behind the scenes and that they were happy with going forward. And I would argue the same things are there for United. Of course it's not perfect, but anybody with a fucking brain can see that this team is a worse team than what we had last year. If you had a replacement for Fellaini, Matic, Pogba, because let's be honest, Pogba hasn't been a United player this year. He's played like 5 games or something.
Yeah.
Lukaku, Herrera, Sanchez. What's that? 6, 7 players?
Yeah.
Come on, man. If you put 6 or 7 players into this team, is it going to be better or worse?
Yeah, and especially if you put 6 or 7 players in that are of the quality of the signings we've had so far. Like Maguire's certainly showed up the defence. Like we said, Wan-Bissaka's been excellent. Dan James, I honestly don't think Dan James was bought to be a starter in this team.
No, I don't.
But he's the only right winger we have at the whole club, so I think that's why he gets a game. And I think he's been good as well. But I think James was meant to be one for the future that has just been thrown in because of, like they said, the quality that's just lacking completely.
The fact Sheffield United are ahead of us, isn't it? I can't, and I won't defend or explain it. I don't know how to explain it, and I won't defend it. Chris Wilder's doing a fantastic job, but again, is Chris Wilder only there a year? There's different pressures at being a Sheffield United. He can actually go and play against some teams with less worry about what will happen because everything he's doing at the moment is happy days. Yeah. Because the expectation level is different. If Droylsden get to round 1 in the FA Cup, everyone fucking well done. If United go out in the 3rd round, all these fucking inquiries into it. Expectation levels are different. And sometimes... hang on. Klopp won titles in Germany. Ole got sacked by Cardiff. You had alluded. What a fucking brilliant cherry picking of fucking points.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because Klopp almost
got sacked.
Yeah.
Also, Klopp got sacked. Klopp got relegated. Sorry.
With Mainz.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also won a title. And Ole also won a title.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah. And yeah, it's ridiculous.
Look, the threat of relegation isn't present. Well, but I also think that it'd be, if everyone expects him, I predicted him 20th. I wasn't on my own in that.
No. I don't think I saw anyone.
He is getting more from a weaker side, but perhaps that side is more his players.
But also, how much of a freakish outlier is this Sheffield United team? It's not like every team is doing this. This is why we're talking about them. It's a huge upset, which come along maybe once a season, there's one of them. This isn't like... there's a reason why they're the team that everyone's being compared to, like Arsenal, even Tottenham. Like, they're doing things that no one thought they would do.
Yep. Yeah, but look, I don't think any of us are sitting here saying, in it fucking mint.
Yeah, we're great, aren't we? This is exactly what we wanted, isn't it?
No, I think that the results that we've had against the bigger teams are an indication of what's possible for us to achieve. Yeah. But you have to have the squad. We're competing in the League Cup, we're competing in Europa League, the FA Cup's about to start, we've got the fucking Premier League, and we're doing it with about 14 players at the minute, realistically.
Yeah.
That isn't enough. We need fucking better players in, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And it is on the players as well. Watford sacked 3 managers, and did it change anything? It's not changed anything, really, has it?
No. I mean, they beat us, but they're still bottom of the league?
I think so. William Lane says, I'm tuning out. If you can't see that Ole has to go, then I don't want to hear your opinions. Then fuck off, mate. How about that? All right? Bye-bye.
Chelsea have scored.
Oh, fucking... Just as Chelsea going against Spurs. Jose out, right? This is how it works.
Jose out, yeah.
United have the youngest, purest talent in any league. Right, do you know what I mean? So the fact that you've got one of the youngest sides in the league, that means nothing as well, I guess.
Yeah, it's not like we're doing it with a team. You got to give a manager time to make his team. That's just, isn't that obvious and understood at this point? Managers very rarely come into a team unless they're a team that has won a lot of trophies in the past, and managers can come on and carry on success with a good team. When you've got a team that's clearly struggling, we've been struggling for 6 years.
Yeah.
This isn't new. This isn't Moyes.
No, this wasn't 6 title wins.
No.
And then Ole came in, and now we're like, what?
This is a team
on?
that finishes 6th or 7th and has done consistently for the last 6 years. So this doesn't turn around in a season.
No.
We can see improvement. We can see because also improvement doesn't necessarily just come on the pitch. You look at the removal, as we've talked about so many times, removal of the sort of the personalities in the dressing room and the whole feeling of the dressing room that was clearly taking things easy, that had players in that didn't want to be there. Removing those players might actually come at the cost of some performances on the pitch, short term, but long term, you have to have a team that wants to be there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, there's going to be some of this, even if Solskjaer's not the right man.
No,
we still have to get rid of players, and
no one's making excuses here. How can Ole not get his players up for the small sides? Why is it on Ole? Why is no one looking at the players? You know, it's not it's not a motivation thing at this level. I really don't think it is. I think Berbatov said it to us when he was talking about it's easier sometimes to get up for the bigger games, but you have to motivate yourself. It's not on the manager. These are all fucking elite fucking 1% winners that you've got in the dressing room.
What do you think to the fact that it's strange how it's so consistently we lose to lower teams? Do you think there's a mentality part of it? Do you think there's a mentality to the teams we're playing? They know they can beat us because it's not an anomaly anymore. It's we beat the big teams, we lose to the small teams, or we drop points to the small teams consistently. It's almost like a formula that we keep following. Do we think that's the players, or because even we talk about the players, we talk about the manager. Regardless of who's managing Man United, this team is better than Watford's team. Yeah. And this team is better than Newcastle's team. So you would think that at some point we would beat these teams, and we're consistently not beating them. What's the way to explain that, or is there no way to explain that?
I think it's probably a combination of all of it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a simple answer.
No.
I think there's a little bit of confidence that the smaller clubs have identified something. Look, we can get a United. This is how other teams have beat United. Let's try that ourselves. Set pieces, sit back and deny the space. That we don't have somebody that can play the ball through the lines. Pogba did it immediately on coming on. There was a ball actually in the first half, Lindelof did. But aside from that, we're looking to our defence for people to play these kind of fucking balls. Otherwise, it's fucking difficult for us to do. It's the no plan B I saw labelled at Pep when he came. The no plan B I've seen labelled at Klopp. I'm labelling it at Ole. I think we need a better plan because we're not a force. I think you can have. I mean, even when you are, I think you should have a plan B. But teams generally can get away with it if they are more of a big side that's just dominating games without a plan B. But we're not.
Well, also, do you remember that Jose used to get slagged off for his plan B being Fellaini?
Yeah.
And that he wasn't the United manager and Fellaini wasn't the United player. So it's not just any plan B. People need it to be the right plan B as well. Basically, if you win games, you don't need a plan B. If you don't win games, where's the plan B? Is essentially how it works. Pep didn't need a plan B for 2 years because they averaged 99 points.
Yeah.
But when you're losing games, where's the plan B? People are saying about City this season.
Yeah. No, you got to get better players. January's an enormous month for us, but we've still got 3 big games before that starts, before any players could come in and do anything. So it's going to be a fucking rough ride. I think everyone just needs to kind of get used to it. It's going to be madness. Dan says Pogba's another level. Yeah, just look at the difference that made when he came on. With that was big for us, I thought, once Pogba came on, showing you the difference. McTominay can do a job against the bigger teams because he's the tool to do that. He isn't the tool to play De Bruyne-style balls against some of these smaller teams. They just scored again.
No,
it's a replay.
And the same with Fred. I think he can look good and he can look all right. I think, for me, of those two, McTominay's the one that would keep his place if we're improving the squad and one of them has to stay. They both gave the ball away so much today, and like you said, neither of them are that De Bruyne, neither of them are that even De Bruyne's style. Not, of course, they're not as good as him, but that kind of can make those passes through, has an eye for goal. None of them can do that, and we don't have anyone that can do that except Pogba.
There's a message I just saw there. I thought was a really good one to read out, and now I can't find it.
Do you remember the rough gist of it?
No. Oh, what do you think Pep would do with this team? I think he would fucking fail miserably.
I think he'd sell it and buy it.
I think he'd be fucking wounded because he would be looking at like Freddie McTominay trying to play through the lines, and he'd be like, He'd probably be playing Maguire at centre mid. Or Lindelof possibly. I don't know. I think he would struggle.
Yeah,
I think he's had excellent teams and he's been backed brilliantly with them. But this team's dysfunctional and unbalanced, and it's the right foil for a certain amount of big games, and it's the fucking wrong foil in the smaller games at the moment. And we need some leaders and some big players and some quality, or I don't think that's going to fucking change for a while, to be honest with you.
No.
Right, I'm going to leave it there, but thank you guys for tuning in. Final word is, look, it's not acceptable. I'm not sitting here making excuses for all the fucking helmets in the comments that are saying stuff like that. I don't know where the fucking hell you're getting that from. It's just not words that have come out of my face. But thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back on Boxing Day. Hope you all have a good Christmas, despite the football. And we'll see you on the other side. Laters.